part of me just wants to like crawl in there and go, come on, Lielle!
I know.
Come on!
Welcome to Love Island the morning after, and very exciting news. After a full 28 episodes, we finally have an exclusive couple. Thank you, Kieran and Sammy. I'm Amy Hart.
And I'm Indiyah Polack. I'm back again this morning. We are with the wonderful Georgia Harrison. Good morning, love.
Good morning, ladies. How you feeling?
Yeah, good, thank you. Really happy we've got an exclusive couple.
It's
We've
about
waited a long
time.
time.
Yeah.
It's my favourite couple as well. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
you've
lie.
been rooting for them actually.
I have from the start, and I really do think they're going to win. Do you know what as well? That was so natural. It was like a really sweet moment. It didn't seem forced at all. Like it was perfect.
Yeah.
Although I do love like a Shanice and Luke style treasure hunt round the garden that ends with the princess crown.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
kind of partial to
Yeah.
to a gesture. But it was very sweet and it was very organic, which makes it a lot more believable.
Yeah.
But before all that loving, we had some drama.
We had Hurricane Belle.
Hurricane Belle. It was all kicking off in the dressing room. There was literally a storm outside. So they all had to
Yeah,
and there was a storm
actually.
inside and
And
outside.
inside. It reminded me, you know, like when you go to the pond and you like feed some ducks or geese some bread and then they all just attack each other and you have to run back to the car and like back away. That's what it was like. I feel like it was the most heated argument we've had on Love Island in a long time because it was such a large group.
I think as well because they were all so confined in just that tiny little dressing room and all the shouting.
Apart from
across.
Lucinda, who was like hiding in the living room.
The thing is, okay, so Lucinda started it all, obviously, with her conversation with Belle. And what I found quite strange is that she seems to always start these conversations that only really are going to go one way.
Yeah.
And then she's always shocked when they go that way.
Yeah.
So she asked Belle for a chat to have a go at her. Did you think Belle was going to go, yeah, no, you're right? Like, she's lived in there with Belle for weeks now. She knows what she's
She
like.
knows what she's like.
Yeah.
I think a normal person within that situation would have took some accountability, whereas I don't think Belle could at all see where she was coming from. And it's like, how can you not?
And do we think that is because it was coming from Lucinda? Do we think maybe if, obviously we know Leanne did speak to Belle, but do we think if maybe Leanne had the same sort of vim as Lucinda, Belle would maybe be able to see, you know, where Lucinda was coming from and what the issue here is at hand?
Probably.
And the thing is that, you know, Belle and Lucinda were mates. And it's kind of double standard, you know?
And also I did it while she was here. All right, that's fine.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I done it right in front of her face. Let her watch.
Yeah.
All right. No worries.
I mean, in this situation, like, who has the moral high ground here? Like Whitney was saying to Belle, you're not wrong. Everyone just has a different opinion.
I think the only person that's right is Lielle.
Yes.
She doesn't exist.
Do you know what, Lielle? What a girl.
Lielle.
What a girl.
Lielle's my new favourite Islander.
Yeah, no, me too. She's come across so well,
So
hasn't she?
well.
Yeah.
She's only been on a short time. We haven't seen much of her, but she's been great.
Hidden gem. I've never heard of anyone called Lielle.
Yeah, the
Nice
makeup
name, though.
artist.
Yeah.
I think it flows.
Yeah.
Maybe
Lielle.
Leanne should, consider that when she gets out.
It's a shame because for the first time in this entire series, Lucinda managed to have a conversation that was slightly eloquent and made somewhat sense and then dropped Lielle. And it was like, you were doing so well. It's the first time you've actually said anything that wasn't really stupid.
Yeah, and do you know what? I honestly stood by what Lucinda was saying.
Yeah.
And it was like you said, it was annoying to see that Belle was not listening to a word she said. You know, when you mess up once, now that person is using that for the rest of the conversation. Like she went over to Sam and was like, oh, she's not even calling her the right name. But that's not the point, is it?
That had nothing to do with the conversation they were having. It was the best way to deflect from it. That she hadn't called her the right
100%.
name. But actually, Lucinda was speaking facts.
Yeah.
And all of it just got deflected by the whole Lielle thing, which was a real shame.
Yeah.
And then Whitney came in and just said that, actually, you're all shit.
But Lucinda
you're
sent-
fake, you're fake,
Yeah,
you're fake.
Lucinda actually sent Whitney in, didn't she?
Yes.
And then she was like creeping around the door like this to see what was going on.
And then she literally whispered, she was like, oh, look how this is going to kick off. Or like, look how funny this is going to be.
Yeah.
So it does make you question sometimes. Like, is Lucinda genuinely trying to stick up for Leanne? Or do we think a bit of her just, again, likes to see the drama?
Yeah, I think a part of her probably did just want to prove her point and literally just say, you have done the same thing here and make herself feel vindicated. But I do think it actually has come across in that way. And in a way, people now actually feel a bit sorry for Lucinda, whereas last week she was literally like, I don't know,
Persona
people were
non
printing her
grata.
face out and putting it on a dartboard, weren't they? But now they're all quite Team Lucinda. So it was good for her to get a point across. I just don't know if she was the person who should have been having that conversation with Belle. But like part of me just wants to like crawl in there and go, come on, Lielle!
I know.
Come on!
But that's the thing
Yeah.
is, Leanne was saying, and we saw it with the whole like Sean, Lucinda, Tommy thing as well, that nobody asked Tommy how he was.
Yeah.
Like nobody cared. And nobody seems to actually be asking Liane how
Nobody
she
is asking Liane how she feels.
Everyone's
and I think,
like, how's Belle? Like,
Yeah.
Lucinda, how are you feeling? And everyone's sort of concentrating on everyone else, except for the person who is like the centre of all of this drama.
I think in the villa at the moment, it's very much like who's the loudest in the room. And just because Liane isn't the loudest, it doesn't mean that her opinion, means less. She's obviously not a very like confrontational person. But I do feel a little bit sorry for her, Like you can tell that she does feel awkward and she doesn't really want to cause an argument with anyone and she kind of wants to be done with it.
Well, yeah, she just wants it over. I think she just wants to get back with him and she doesn't know how to handle the situation when it does come to speaking to the girls, which is a real shame because honestly, I think a lot of people in there haven't been good friends to her.
They haven't, to be honest. And I feel like for Liane, it's like, well, why am I going to kick off when none of you guys have my back anyway? It's kind of a tough situation that she's in.
Yeah, and I think half the villa knew about the Belle and Scott thing before she got notified. And she only got notified because Whitney was like, do you know what, I've had enough of this. If not, how long would it have been left?
Yeah.
How long would the eye fucking have continued?
Yeah. Hey.
Do you know what I mean?
That is
I fucked the life out of her.
Deal. Eye sex.
I don't think I've had that.
I'm sure.
I don't know. No, I've not been eye fucked. I mean, I've had the odd little, but eye fucked. That sounds.
That's quite intense.
How long does it go on for? How long do you stare?
I think in real life, you just meet eyes across the room, and then you'd go over and talk to them. You wouldn't be in the same bar every night for 6 weeks.
Looking. I think I've had too much Botox to eye fuck. Yeah. I don't think I can eye fuck anymore.
Heart-racing moments, head-turning pre-love fits. eBay with Love Island All-Stars just keeps on giving. The villa may be heating up, but the pre-love moments, forever iconic. From Leanne stunning in a jaded London at her pre-love date, Mille reviving another jaded classic worn by Gabby during All-Stars Season 2, to Curtis making his return bombshell entrance in the very same Dior shirt worn by Season 12's Cash. Now, those pre-loved archive slays are coming back full circle. This Friday, Season 12 winners Tony and Cash host eBay Live with Love Island All-Stars for a chance for you to bid on these very items and more All-Stars authenticity guaranteed threads from Gucci to Valentino and Versace, with all proceeds going to Great Ormond Street Hospital. So for looks to fall for all over again, set your reminder for eBay Live with Love Island All-Stars on Friday the 13th at 3 p.m. now. See you there. Now, Scott and Liane have decided to start up again. She said, I want you to come home. Dinner's on the table. She didn't really make him grovel, but we all said when we were watching it that it's sort of like last week, she was like, no, I don't want you. So he was like, okay, I'm going to go and talk to other people then.
Yeah.
So maybe she thought, you know what? He wants to come back. Like, let's just let it lie. Belle seemed quite annoyed. What was she expecting, do you think?
Do you know what? I honestly do think a part of Belle felt like Scott was going to choose her and not Liane. And obviously we've got the conversation of their conversations being 70-30 regardless. But slightly, I do feel like even if it is 70-30, Scott not shutting it down leaves room for all of those things. Do you know what I mean? Like even if Belle was the one that started it, like Belle is like, well, you're not closing it off with Liane, so clearly there's room for me here. And it didn't go in the way that she wanted to. So I think she's a little bit salty.
I think he let Belle think that there was some opportunity there.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think that Scott is faker than half the hairlines on a Turkish Airways flight back to Stansted. I really do. And I think he tells Liane one thing, he tells Belle something else. And I really do think it's giving game player. And I don't think he really cares about either of their feelings. And I think if he really cared for Liane, then he'd just be treating her with respect. Like, look at like Sammy and Kieran. We don't see a lot of them. We don't see a lot of the drama because I think their relationship is very real and they really do care for each other. Whereas with Scott, I can't get my head around what he's done for the last 5 days. All of it just screams, I'm looking for airtime and I don't care about either of these women.
And also when he says about logical, I just think that he means about sort of who's going to be his best bet to make it to the end of next week.
And like optics-wise, because again, like Belle is right. There is a lot of things that Liane doesn't know. Liane doesn't know that Scott has been telling the other boys that he thinks Belle was the most logical option. Yeah. So if that does get back to her, she's sort of like, you said this last night and now you're closing things off again with Liane. So
I mean, and he was like, because she likes to travel. Who doesn't like to travel? I like Liane looks like she loves the holiday. I'm really, like, I don't get it.
She likes finance. Holidays equal finance.
Oh, no, look, I am gutted for Liane. I just think she can do so much better. I think Belle can too. And I think anyone, when there's a boy-girl friendship, one of them always fancies the other. Either the boy fancies the girl or the girl fancies the boy. Clearly in this friendship, Belle fancies Scott and it's come to a crescendo and it's now over. And I don't see their friendship flourishing from here.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott don't either, to be fair.
I mean, but Scott seems to be very on board. Like, it's very possible for them to go back to when they started. Obviously, without the flirting. But I don't see how you can go from having eye sex to then being platonic friends.
That's what I mean. Leanne was like, we're going to need some boundaries. And when she sits them both down, like, no eye fucking. No,
no friendship. The friendship's done.
No, it's done.
It's over. I think out of respect for Leanne, like Scott should realise that.
We talk about this every year. Is that realistic in the villa?
Not in the villa,
They're
no.
all in the same bedroom. They're all in the same garden. It's not a big villa. For the sake of everyone, is it actually realistic to say you cannot be friends with her?
Yes.
No, and I don't think Leanne's the sort of person that will. But I think one thing we saw in this episode that was a really harsh statement that we were like, wow, was when Belle was like, watch when he gets home. He's going to drop her after a couple of months. And who's he going to call? Me.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was a harsh thing to say. Like,
I think it came from a place of hurt, but I think it was also quite bold of Belle to assume that Scott has no feelings for Leanne's at all. Because like, I understand, like, yeah, you know, he's given her the open door and he's been flirting with her, yes. But to say that he essentially is going to regret going for Leanne, I think is a little bit wild and is a bit strong from her because they have actually been dating for 4 weeks.
What I'm getting is she thinks he's with Leanne because he wants to win and he thinks he'll win with Leanne, but deep down, he's in love with her.
Which I don't think is the case. Like, even if he does have a game plan or whatever, he does still like Leanne, just, again, like I was saying a few episodes ago, not as much.
Their body language is different. They have these natural cuddles.
Yeah.
They do have moments that him and Belle don't have.
There is defo a spark there, you know?
I think it's actually a pride thing from Belle. I think we've seen it before when she gets embarrassed, when she gets humiliated, when things don't go her way. Instead of like retreating and crying, like some people, me, would, she goes on the defensive, and her best way of being defensive is being loud and defensive and making bold statements. And I think it's just sort of a thing of like, well, it doesn't affect me actually, because you know what, he's gonna realise he's made a mistake.
Yeah.
Girl power. I'm the best, da, da, da. Whereas, like, or her other option is to be like, oh, okay, I lost, okay. So I think it's just Belle.
Yeah, fair enough.
She likes to lash out, and I do think she should actually be a bit more vulnerable because there is no smoke without fire.
Yeah.
And to give it the whole 70-30, we saw him holding hands with her. He's definitely given her some ounce of hope for her to just put her heart out on the line like that. And it was a bold move that she knew was going to potentially make her look bad, not just to her friends, but to the public. So it shouldn't all be put on her. I think it was really
100%.
a two-way thing, and I think he was enjoying the attention.
100%.
And also, it was sort of, Love Island's always about divine timing, and they've been friends the whole time. They had like flirty, friendly banter. They've had like the holding hands and stuff, the eye fucking famously. And then they were both single for, it was only one day.
It was one
But
day.
for one short day in the Love Island villa, they were both single because they were like, brilliant. Let's make a go of it. And then it hasn't worked out. So I think, like, imagine if the days hadn't crossed over.
Yeah.
She's out of the frying pan into the fire, back upstairs with Harrison on the terrace. Because if you've been hurt by Scott, where better to go
Than to Harrison.
the young bull.
Of course.
Do you see that working out?
Look, I think in terms of her personality, it's probably the best option for her to pursue for her last bit of time there in the villa.
Yeah.
She'll probably have a bit of fun with him. There probably will be like a bit of sexual tension, bit of flirtiness. I can't see them going in the long run, but I think there's no point in her sitting down with someone like Tommy or Jack, someone that doesn't match her energy. So she might as well mess about with Harrison for a bit. I mean, he's got nothing better to do.
Yeah, true, to be honest. And I think she does actually fancy him.
Yeah.
You know, I think when he came in, she was saying how he's attractive, and why not? The Scott situation is done. Just have a bit of fun.
Yeah, he's her type. He's a little bit young, but I definitely think she can have a laugh with him. And to be honest, she needs to be a little bit picked up because she is going to be hurt by the situation that's just occurred.
Yeah.
Well, we will soon see who Harrison picks. He's talking to Belle. He's talking to Sher, but she's got a lot going on, which we'll talk about later. But we'll find out tonight, hopefully, or if not, at least next week. Well, another turn up for the books. Our alleged guaranteed winners that we were so sure were going to win may now not. Mille and Zach. It was a very, very strange conversation where we thought Zach was going to close it off.
Yeah.
And he was like, literally like, it was like, you know that bit in Legally Blonde where she thinks he's going to propose?
That's what I was
and then he's like, I think that we
thinking.
should break up. It was literally like that. He was like building it up and the music was starting.
I
and then
was
we were like, oh
literally
my
like,
God.
this is it.
This is so
You
good.
went, he's going to close it off.
I literally thought he was going to close it off. Like, he was smiling. He was like, I love the way things are going between us. It's great. So the future looks bright. I'm really happy with you. And I see no issue with, you know, getting to know other people. And then she was like, oh, so you want to talk to Jessie? And he's just like, Yeah.
I just want to talk to Jessie more.
Like, I didn't understand it personally. And, we saw Mille's energy shift and she was basically saying, what you're telling me is that you're going to be kissing, cuddling me in bed and then getting to know somebody else right in my face. And I think that's one thing I feel like a lot of people in the villa don't realise is that it's all fun and well getting to know somebody else, but you're doing it in front of me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel the best all the time.
No.
I do think women do have gut feelings. Like, there's been so many times where I'm like, this actually isn't right. And it always isn't. And I think if it was one of them things where she could sort of take it on the chin and be like, look, he might be talking to her, but he doesn't like her. She's been really shaken by this situation throughout the day before we even saw that conversation where he literally built her up, then dropped her like a lead balloon at the end of it. And it's actually horrible to see her like that because you can tell she really, really likes him.
I think that's what it is. We've seen Mille develop feelings for Zach really quickly. She's fallen quite fast and hard for him. And it's nice.
Yeah.
But I think also when, you start to notice these things, it's like, oh gosh, I've moved so fast and now I can't control my emotions.
This is the thing. I think there's certain situations in the villa which on the outside you would never stand for that. But we're so quick to be like, get rid of him. It's out of order. He can't kiss and cuddle you in bed and then get to know someone else. That's out of order. But if everyone cut everyone down as soon as that happened in Love Island, you would never have any couples because that
So
is
true.
the whole point of the experiment and it's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
And I think, like she said, if you kiss her, then I'm out.
Yeah.
I think that is the next level from getting to know someone.
100%.
It was just the oddest conversation though, because he actually used the statement, I can see me and you going long term, so I'm going to keep talking to Jessie. I can see us going long term.
He's heard too much of Scott talking about tests.
Tests.
I think that's what it is. I
Tested.
think Zach really likes Mille. And I think when he was saying that to Mille, it was more of just sort of like, I've got the opportunity to explore. I'm going to do it because it's the aim of the game. It doesn't mean I want to be with Jessie. And I don't think he's realizing like how deep it actually is. I think he's got an opportunity. It's a new bombshell that's interesting him and he's going to go for it. I don't think for a second, well, let me not speak too soon. You never know what happens. But I don't think his head is going to turn for Jessie. I think he just wants to have a chat because he has the option to.
Yeah.
I think he'd be mad if he did. But what I also don't really know is where Jessie's head's at. I've got no idea. Like, do you think she really wants him or
I don't really know.
does she want
'cause
Tommy? What
also
does she
didn't
want?
really see much of her last night because of like all the arguments and stuff. But I thought that she would just be on Tommy the whole time and she hasn't been. And
We saw him have that brief chat at the start,
but like,
didn't we?
obviously, I know we didn't see much of Jessie when she was with Joey Essex before.
Yeah.
But even with that, like, I wouldn't even say that Tommy is Jessie's type much. Like, I don't
No,
really see them.
But there's like 10 days left.
Yeah,
or
she's not got
something.
much choice. But then again, I mean, you're coming in this late, but she seems like she stands on business and she's not just going to chat to someone for the sake of it.
Yeah, no, she's come across really confident and like she's there for a reason this time.
Yeah. Mille is she's been voted favourite girl in the series.
Yeah.
She is like head over heels for Zach. Like just from a reputation point of view, like coming in at this stage, you've got Tommy who's been crying because he hasn't got a connection, who everyone loves. He's a really nice bloke, like who's desperate for someone to love him for him. Or you've got Zach who's coupled up with one of the most popular girls. Like they've been to the Hideaway together and there's like just over a week left. Like
And they're in a really serious situation.
There-
Like,
there-
Mille is in love with
there's a
him.
clear pathway to take.
Yeah. And I genuinely think she actually will take that pathway. And yeah, I think maybe Zach's just trying to get put into the experience. What's annoying is I haven't seen any of these like Love Islanders on their American series. I wish I knew more about how they held themselves in their previous series.
I don't think.
Yeah,
Was he not?
He was
wasn't.
Casa Amor. He didn't get brought back.
Oh,
So
look at
he
him now.
wasn't- I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, now,
He's what we thought Jack was going to be. Like,
I think they'll sort it out. But I do think it's weird that even though he's getting to know Jessie, he hasn't spoken to Mille all day. Like, it's odd that
It's
his
those
energy
little
changed.
things,
And
yeah.
then things that you pick up on, and you're like, are you just talking to her? Or do you not want her to see you with
Yeah.
me today? Is that what's happening?
And in the villa, like stuff like that does get to your head.
Yeah.
Like speaking from experience, like if you don't speak to your couple and like for the whole day and there's like another bombshell in there or it's like a Casa Amor situation, you're going to be thinking, why is that? Like, what are you guys talking about? Because you're talking to someone today. It's not me.
and that's the
And
thing.
it's definitely
It's
not
like
me, yeah.
in the villa, there's literally nothing else
You're
to
literally
do but talk.
there.
You're
I'm
literally-
here, you're there.
You've got
Like,
no mobile phones,
Yeah.
no nothing.
you've
Why
got
are you talking
nothing to
me?
do. Why have you not
no
spoken to me all
excuse not
day?
to
It's
talk
so
to me.
true. What are you doing, a new hobby? No.
Learning to crochet.
Jack seemed to be having a really nice, heartfelt conversation with Tommy. And this isn't the first time we've seen Jack kind of express the whole, like, he doesn't want to be a second option. He doesn't want to be in a triangle. And I really thought last night that he was going to go over to Cher and kind of say that. But we saw him, they went on the terrace and he completely backtracked. Like, he didn't tell Sher how he was feeling or anything. He was kind of just, just
Doing this.
taking it back. Like, why do we think that is? Like, what's going on here?
I think she's breadcrumbing him.
Yeah.
So, when you just give him a little bit to just keep them
Yeah.
coming, and that is exactly what's happening here. And he goes up there to say it, and she gives him this teeny little breadcrumb, and he just goes straight for it. Like, Jack, hold back on the carbs. Like, she's having you on at this point,
But he's
and you
not
need
getting
to
any
just
bird food from anyone else.
No, he isn't. And that's what's such a shame. But like, even when we see them together, they're not holding hands. They're not even sitting close to each other. I've never seen them actually be affectionate. I haven't at all. And he clearly really, really likes her.
Yeah.
And she knows it ain't it.
Yeah.
And I just think really he does need to just pull back. And maybe if he did, she'd throw a loaf his way. But at the moment, that's not what's happening.
The only time that we've seen them be sort of affectionate towards each other was back at Villa USA, when there could have been a chance that someone wouldn't have got brought back and there was more to play for. Whereas now they're all in the main villa. It's
Hedging
like,
her bets.
Lovely, cool.
I mean, Sher did say as well when she was in bed, she was like, look, I know there's pros and cons to Jack, but she was like, there are cons and they're big cons. So do you think Sher knows herself, like, look, this is not it? And if that is the case, why do we think she strung him on for so long?
And what are the cons? He's so sweet.
She'll
Like,
be like,
I just want to wrap him up and put him under a Christmas tree.
Why have you got a Love Island All Stars then?
Yeah.
That's your issue. I think you were going to couple up with Carrington. That would have been easier. But yeah, I mean, bless him. Again, we're nearing the end now. We don't know how many new bombshells are going to come in. He probably thinks that she's his only option.
Yeah, and he does really have to make it work with her. But hey, Jessie just walked in. She's not like shut down with anyone at all. Like, I'd love to see Jack just like make an effort with someone else, but I think he's just such a sweet guy and he doesn't really have that balls and that confidence to just be like, come and then I'll give this a shot. But Jessie is still an option. And I'd actually like him to maybe try and pursue her and see if that works.
But
So just do something
he
different.
sort of learnt from his time in Villa USA when he spread himself too thin, ended up with no one, and now where Sher is like breadcrumbing him, he's like, if I go and speak to Jessie, she's going to withhold my crumbs.
Yeah.
But then again, that might not happen because he could flip it and be like, well, you are getting to know Harrison, so what do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got to do something.
He has to do something. And I really, really hope he does, just to try and mix it up a little bit. Belle, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that.
that's it. They've been in there too long.
But then part of me thinks if Harrison picks Sher, I think the best sort of outcome would be for Jack and Belle to be like, do you know what? There's a week left. Like, let's just friendship couple. And I think it's actually best off to be like, do you know what? Love Island's not all about love. It's about friendships too. Like, let's just really enjoy this last week together and see how far we can get.
Fair enough, yeah.
And take all the stress out of it. If Harrison picks Sher.
It works. It does work sometimes. So maybe it'll work for these guys. Or they'll go home.
Well, that's it for this morning. If nothing else, at least we've managed to get one couple locked in. Georgia, will you join us again tomorrow?
Oh my God, I will be back. One down, at least 3 more to go.
And remember to leave us your thoughts and your comments because we absolutely love them. And we'll be back here tomorrow.
See you then.
Bye.